Oh, wait a second. They're on the Michelin guide? Whoa, these burritos, they don't taste like a 3-star restaurant. We went from being regarded as a small, great little place to now we have 6 locations. If I jeopardize it just for accolades' sake, yeah, I've lost my way. For those who couldn't afford a beef burrito,
Yeah.
just bought a freshly made tortilla, and then we would add salsa, and I'm lucky. And it's not about pushing my luck. It's the wrong answer for capitalism, but it's the right answer for me. But I came here with no knowledge of what America was. It's not that you find what you love, because I love the vacation, right? So I learned a big lesson. Don't start a business that you don't understand. If we make the mistakes early on, then we have to pay for those mistakes, right? And usually it's time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Facts of Life podcast hosted by me, John Doan. Today I've got a real treat for everyone. I'm going to be able to introduce you to one of my great friends, business partners, clients, and somebody that I really respect as a business man and entrepreneur. His name is Alberto Banuelos. I call him the King of Burritos, owner and founder of Burritos La Palma. Today, we're not going to be talking about food content. We're not going to be talking about like what it tastes like or how he makes food. It's not about that. We're going to be talking about the battle and the fight to respect what it takes to run a business, a brand, and still keep and maintain its quality, consistency, and authenticity. He's got a lot of accolades, Michelin awards, Netflix appearances, Jimmy Kimmel Show, OC Weekly, LA Times, the list goes on. The guy's getting fame and he's up and coming. So that's why today we're going to break things down and we're going to talk about how a Mexican food brand can grow without being attacked by the sharks circling who want to just capitalize on his brand. We're also going to talk about his family, how the business started, and the roots of what motivates him and his passion. Let's get into it. The one and only Alberto Banuelos. So L.I.F.E. Today we start with L. We're going to talk about legacy. I think that's a big topic to talk about. And, I'll start off the interview or questions like everybody does when you do podcasts or reviews, because you've been on a ton. I've watched them all, by the way. And so I'll just break it out, right? Like you yourself came from Zacatecas, Mexico. It started with Burritos La Palma, right? Yeah. And then that's when you guys started with the tortillas, which has tons of fame. But is it true that the original burrito that was like ever made, was it called the salsa burrito?
No, that became a popular student item.
Oh, for like college students, high school students.
Yeah, elementary. Those who couldn't afford a beef burrito.
Yeah.
Just bought a freshly made tortilla, and then we would add salsa, and it became like the secret menu.
Really? Yeah. So it's like going to In-N-Out and being like, I want a animal style 4x4, which is off menu, but that's, if they know the original Burritos La Palma, then they know the secret menu item. Kind of like that.
And it was funny because it later became something that you could afford the beef, but you still ended up getting the salsa burrito. It's pretty tasty.
That's awesome. So your dad, Jose, right, was the original, I don't know, person who created the recipe for what? The burrito or the actual tortilla?
The tortilla, the burrito, the salsa, everything.
It was all him.
Yeah.
How about your mom? I saw that, and I've heard from you too, like your beans that you make is like really inspired by how your mom makes it. Because once I was eating one of your burritos, I'm like, oh yeah, I love these beans. They're very different because they're more liquidy. But you said your mom made it that way. Yeah. Is that true?
That is true, yeah.
Gotcha.
That's how she did it, and that's how I fell in love with those, and that's what I wanted to offer.
Gotcha. So just to kind of go back a little bit, to backtrack, you were born here. I know that. And I think when you were like a teen, 13 years old, you moved back to Mexico.
Yeah.
And you lived there for like 8 years. Is that when you really learned the business and like fell in love with it? Or tell us about that journey. Because if you're here in LA and your family is in Zacatecas, right? Obviously, I mean, there was no business yet. So kind of like, tell me about that journey when you were there.
I'm 13 when we moved, and I left, baseball. I left, pinball machines. I left all that to go live in a little village.
That's crazy.
It was awesome. But yeah, it was very different.
Just shocked, like as a 13-year-old, I mean, I have a 14-year-old. I can't even imagine if I made him move back to, I don't know, Vietnam, let's say, where my parents are from. He would be just in total culture shock, you know?
Yeah, and this wasn't like a town or a city. This was a village. I was just watching a movie with Lauren the other day, and there's a scene where they're in a cabin and they have one of these, kerosene lamps. That's what we had for the first years. That was
Wow.
But you don't notice the difference at that age. Its family is super cool. But yeah, so then I start growing up and I become the rebellious teenager. And no, it's not where I learned passion for the business.
Oh, it's not. Okay, they want me, tell me how this
I
happened.
wanted to walk, sunset. I wanted to go to the Rainbow, the whiskey. So I came to America, and that's what I did,
Wow.
Yeah. But eventually, years later, you realize you got to start making a living and you start settle down.
For sure.
And that's when I revisited the whole burrito scene. I realized, I learned something. I could do this. And then as I started to grow, that's when I really fell in love with it, when I saw the potential.
Gotcha.
And it's easy when people embrace it. Because when I started, it was just for those who were from my hometown, right? And then you start having, food critics speak highly of your food. I'm like, wow, that's cool. And now you start putting things together. Yeah.
That's how it started. I mean, you were in the food business though, like just jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've told me working in restaurants, just kind of working your way up.
At one point, I didn't believe that was necessary. I thought, I went to school.
Yep.
I went to business school, so I should start at, let's say, mid-level or whatever, right? No. Maybe it works for some people, but it didn't work for me, and I learned that lesson.
I mean, you talk about the generation today, our kids, anywhere else. I mean, if you're going to like business school and you're finishing college, you're coming out and what? You probably feel like you're entitled to start higher and not at the bottom.
Yeah.
So what a huge difference that would make in just your future of owning a successful business in the food space, right? Being able to say, hey, I started at the bottom and I worked my way up, so I know what. I guess it makes you feel like, hey, I understand what everybody feels like as far as running, your business.
Yeah, you can relate to them.
Yep.
You understand when the term is in the weeds, right? But when you're slammed you know what they need and you could assist. And that not so much gets the job done, but it creates that environment that you want, where people feel respected, they feel valued, and then they're just more productive. There's a big difference. Now, we all have to work.
Yeah.
Can we make it fun and easy? Sure. Can we make it rewarding? Yeah.
For sure.
And
yeah,
challenge it. Yeah. Why not?
I agree with you. Yeah, I can relate to that big time.
Yeah.
And then so, when did your actual business start, right? Like you had this journey, jobs, ideas, and just the idea of doing what you did. Like when was it exactly when you're like, okay, this is what I want to do and this is what I'm going to start it?
Yeah. It's when my first business, which was a bicycle service shop, failed.
Really?
I
remember this.
Yeah, that was the moment. So I learned a big lesson. Don't start a business that you don't understand. But don't start a business that you can't do. At the end of the day, it's just you. You have to be able to perform. And I love bikes. But yeah, I couldn't be a mechanic, not a salesperson for that. So that's when I learned.
Why is it? Because like your number one service as a bike mechanic was changing brakes, and everyone was complaining about the brakes not working.
No, try adjusting the derailleur. No, it's not the customer that I'm used to. It's not the customer I wanna work with.
Yeah. Well, however you were doing that.
Oh, I had just turned 40.
Wow, that was a late part in your life to figure out like, hey, I want to do this as a business.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And that's, depending on what we're talking about, that's a key factor in success for me, and I think for others it would work. At one point, you have to make, you have to write down your plan. And I had made good decisions, I had made bad decisions. But where I was at that time with my wife Lauren and our young family, I realized, yeah, I'm going to have to start, and it's going to take a while. So I decided that business was going to be easier than a restaurant. And technically it is. It's still doing well with my ex-partner. It just wasn't for both of us. Well, at that point, yeah, I realized, okay, I'm gonna start doing something I do know. And I guess I could say that It was, I don't know, going back to a restaurant and being an employee. And now I'm really going to learn the ins and outs of a restaurant, but not necessarily on my dime, but I'm going to go through the proper training. And I did that. So I worked some really good companies. It wasn't easy. I don't recommend it. Don't.
Wow.
But I knew that it was going to take me, into my 40s to do that. It was like my second school.
And I know that Lauren, your wife, was a big motivator, just like you said. And I know this because I know you, your family, I know her. And so would you say that she was the main motivation? Did she push you this direction? Behind every successful is wife in the back like mine, to get me where I am. Was she kind of helping you with the same?
100%. 100%. Look, I believe I'm the luckiest man in the world. But then you'll say, no, I'm the luckiest man. And we're in a good place, right? My wife knew how to encourage me. I don't like to get pushed, right? So she didn't push, but she encouraged me, she guided me, and she always supported, right? Not the dumbest ideas. I'm talking about something serious.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something for her. So I figured this is a win-win.
And the young family, like you said. And so you start thinking, when you have a young family, you're like, what's next?
I think that for your show, it's important to say that if we make the mistakes early on, then we have to pay for those mistakes, right? And usually it's time. I knew that if I was going to have a job, and I had 2 kids, right? They were little, and then I had Ian, which was teenage at that point.
Yep.
I wasn't going to be able to pay for college, for 3 kids. I wasn't going to be able to, and I was going to be able to, either run a household, pay a mortgage. So I knew that to get what I ended up getting was to go through that tough, 10 years of just grind.
You have to
grind it, and that's what we ended up doing. But yeah, if it wasn't for Lauren, there's no way I would have done it.
Yeah, I mean, I really do think that, to find true success, either you got to fail a couple times to know that, do you have the resilience to like get back up and go again? That's important.
Yeah.
You got thick skin. Are you for real? And if you are, then you get your ass back up and you do it again and you perfect until you get to success. And if you can't make it there, then this is not for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not.
And that's why you have to, it's not that you find what you love, because I love the vacation, right?
Or money.
Right? But you have to find what you love so you could get up and do it. And thick skin is needed, of course, but you accept the losses, you accept the tough times, because you know that at the end of the day, you're going to get where you want to go. Yeah, so you have to find what you want to do.
I think you picked the best route to go you possibly could. And obviously, look where you're at now.
Yeah. For me, so many people have done the same thing that I have, and maybe they're not, I can't determine what success is for them, but when they close a restaurant, I don't think that's success. And so a lot of people haven't had to close their restaurants and their dreams and whatnot, but hopefully they're doing what they want and they get up and they do it again. Failures, all you have to do is get up one more time and you're no longer failing.
That's exactly what, and learn from your failure of what not to do again. Otherwise that's definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
When I have conversations with my kids, of course they're not going to really understand, and the advice that I give them, they don't need it now, but hopefully they'll.
It'll stick. Yeah, it'll stick.
Yeah, right. So the same thing with me, but that idea of failing, it's a matter of peaking. Do you peak too soon? It's possible you peak too soon.
Oh, I've never thought about that. Another thing was, you were living in Lake Forest at the time, and you were like, talk about grind. Were you driving to like El Monte, the first Burritos La Palma location? Like every day back and forth?
Every day. Sometimes it was twice, because not that I forgot something, but I had to come and get something that make things happen over there. When you're building a dream, you're enjoying it, right? But at this particular time, I'm older. And then it's not the age part, it's the time part.
You just said a little bit ago, time, and you never get that back, right? So that's relevant to what you were kind of saying there. I totally agree. So during that grind, because I'll share like my business, it's very chaotic. Yours is too. Mm-hmm. It's very time consuming, retail hours, Man, I don't know how you do it. My wife's family's in the restaurant business, 20, 30 years. It's a grind.
It's a grind.
Success, not like, it doesn't matter. Just the hours and the holiday hours. It's like, man, and the weekends, it's always up. People need to eat, you know? So it's like, you can't really turn it off. So how was that? Because in your business, being that you can't turn it off, how did you manage that? Not being there 7 days, like at some point you had to be like, okay, I need to like step back here.
Well, you have to. It was part of the plan. It was a part of the plan. Look, if I'm going to be working 12, 14 hours for somebody else, then I sure can do it for myself. The reward is that eventually you start to wean off. So you start to build a team that you could rely on. And then, yeah, you give them incentives so that they could continue that for you.
Gotcha.
No, the part that I like to remember is I started getting phone calls. Hey, I heard you weren't at work. It's from my parents. People would call them all the way to Mexico. Like,
really?
You went to La Palma and we didn't see Alberto.
Oh.
So they'd call me. I'm like, well, it's funny because it's not because their business, but it's like the kid's not doing his job right. So the culture of always having to work.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And you got your work ethics from that cultural just DNA. It's like our genes, man. It is. My parents, I've talked about this on my show, but they were a dry cleaner. They worked really hard, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. It was a grind, you know, daily, just trying to make it. And they didn't know. They were, you know, immigrants that came here after the Vietnam War. They had no idea what our culture was like. There was a total gap. We didn't understand each other big time. And all they, you know, knew how to do was work, work, work. And we didn't get along together when I was a teenager because of that. And they would bring work home and we were up till midnight helping them scrub laundry shirts like this, like right at the collars and right at the cuffs. All night. Me and my two sisters just taking turns doing that. And it was a grind and I was angry. I never forgot that shit though, because that's who I am today.
Yes.
It's like a foundation. Yeah. Is that kind of what you're talking about with culture and all that too?
Same. When you come from a third world country, and I don't know what that means, but I know that I come from Mexico. There's a lot of labor. There's a lot of manual labor.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't, the culture, at least for my family where I come from, it's not about who has the suit and has the air conditioning. It's about who works the hardest. Who's the hardest working? Who's working out? Okay, well, that wasn't me because I was a kid in the States. But you do need to understand that nothing's for free and you have to work hard. There's a billion people out there wanting to do the same thing. So it's not like the treasure's there waiting for you. There's no place. So yeah, that culture does. There's a hardworking culture here. Yeah. But it's productivity that at the end of the day makes a difference.
That's right. And it's like, you know, it's that saying, you know, at some point you need to work less with your hands, more with the head.
Yeah.
You know, and start planning. And it's not just about the hard work. And just because you're not behind the counter, like you were just talking about, doesn't mean that you aren't thinking and producing and you're like conjuring up the next move, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously you were.
Yes. And that's the difference between my parents' generation and then my generation. I was thinking about growth. They were not. And we've had these conversations and this is what we wanted. And you're right. Once you reach your goal, you know, sit back, relax and assess, you know, don't get into the rat race of wanting to build more because who are you building for, right? And for me, I wanted to grow because I wanted to be able to have my own time. Like that's time. If I have to work 16 hours, that's my decision. There's nothing like that. When someone decides your time, yeah, that's not fun.
Well, that's not, I mean, you could want to work 16 hours, but that was the original question, right? Like, how was it like, the dynamic between you and Lauren? And it sounds like she was really supportive there.
100%.
So that's, you know.
100%, man. Okay, so again.
That makes it easier.
It makes it easier. Maybe it doesn't make for a fascinating story, but I think the fascinating story is that she knew that it wasn't forever. We talked about this. We had a plan. The other part is, I just wanted to sell burritos. You know, it wasn't like it wasn't brains or
as simple as that.
What it was is that I just wanted to have a place where I could go and work. It would be me, and I would own that. You know, own the failures and the success, and then go home, right? But then the current took us. You know, the accolades, the notoriety took us, and then now you have to adjust for that. That wasn't in the plan. But thanks to Lauren, thanks to our experiences, we adapted to it and we were able to move on.
That's good.
Yeah. So knowing that we wanted to grow, it helped. Yeah.
See, that's really important. I had difficulties with my wife, Teresa, and our family. I mean, we have 4 small children, and here I am in the business trying to like really make it. But in our business, it's like a roller coaster, right? Your business a lot of times is really dependent on what are mortgage rates like? How is, real estate appreciation or depreciation? So it's like up and down. So when it's up, you got like all hands on deck. When the iron is hot, strike, right? So, that's what you do. So you're like putting in a lot of hours, and then when it's down, you live off the piggy bank that you've saved up from your hard efforts. But it's hard to live in that lifestyle, It's hard.
I never thought of it this way, but that sounds like both of my grandparents, that they were farmers.
Yeah. Seasonality.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. But you're not relaxing. You're repairing, you're storing, you're fixing. So you don't let up.
The downtime, you mean, when it's down?
Yeah.
No.
There's no real downtime. See, for you though.
Not me. And that's my problem, because when it's really busy and my wife's like, I need help, or like, hey, how about some time? I get kind of obsessive over what I'm doing, but it's always about getting better and better and better. Right. And I'm always thinking about that. And if I could look back, I could have spent more hours with my family and less at the grind, because like you said, time you'll never get back.
You'll never get back.
But we were young, right? And so that is one thing I kind of look back at. Because when it was busy, my line was, it's busy, gotta get it when it's hot. But then when it slowed down, I was still busy because I'm now preparing for the next move.
Right.
And she's like, I thought you said it was, you know what I'm saying? So that chatter back and forth made it a little turbulent on top of the chaos of the business. But also, I think, made us stronger too, which, over the many years we've been together, now she's like, okay, it's busy, go get it, And the kids are older, so it's a little bit less pressure.
It's less pressure. I see it as time invested. You invested the time. You didn't lose the time. You didn't waste the time. And that has value. That has value. If you would have known then that you could lay off, you would have, but you didn't know.
I was way too excited, and the work ethic and what my parents embedded in me, like I just couldn't turn it off.
My kids ask me great questions because they make me reflect, and then they make me remember the questions I asked my parents. But one of my children asked me, "Hey, Dad, so how much money did you save by not doing this?" Like, well, I didn't know it was going to turn out this way, so I guess I saved a life.
Wow, what a good question. Yeah. How do you reflect on something you weren't even planning or thinking about, in other words?
And it makes me think I would have the same conversation with my dad. Hey, Dad, because he sent me to school, so I came back.
My kids ask me that, dude.
I come back with these ideas like, no, relax. You do you, I'll do me. No, Dad, but, if you do this and it equals this, it's like, and I get it now.
That's funny.
I get it now.
See, it's cyclical, man. I mean, it's like rinse and repeat. But now you kind of see what that looks like. And then the culture too, right? Like it's different. Your culture in Mexico is different from ours. But you get the best of both worlds is how I see it. I do, and you get the blend.
You could take the worst of both worlds, or you could take the best of both worlds. Both. Yeah. Life's all about decisions.
Yeah.
Easy decision, right? Take the best of both worlds. Yeah.
So just, we're still on legacy in the acronym LIFE here. And with that said, what came first? Chicken or the egg, or the tortilla, or the burrito? Like, what was first for you?
The tortilla.
Really?
Yeah. In Mexico, it started with the tortilla. So my dad had this idea that he would go back, like many immigrants, came here to better themselves, but knowing that they want to go back. And he did. And my parents did. That's, to me, very admirable. They go back, they take us with them. And now he's got to figure out what he wants to do. He tries some of his passions, and passion doesn't always equal money, so that didn't work out. He ended up going to what he does know, which is restaurant business. And he realizes that in this town that we're now living in, Jerez, there's no flour tortilla. And being exposed to America, flour tortilla was a big staple. So he embarks on this tortilla trip and buy some machinery in Guadalajara. I mean, he didn't know anything.
Wait, step back for a second, just to be clear. So in Mexico, it's all corn tortilla only? Like there's no flour?
No, the northern part of Mexico is all flour.
Oh, northern.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And we're in the central northern part. So it was still corn.
What's your favorite type of tortilla?
Flour. No, it is.
Is it?
It is. It really is.
Well, that's good because in 2021, you guys won like top tortilla awards with Gustavo tortilla tournament.
Yeah, yeah.
How was that? How did that make you feel winning that award? You guys were up against some players there.
We were, and again, it comes down to how many times you fail, how many times you get up. We had lost. We were second place twice. Yeah.
Before 21?
That was the fourth competition.
Oh. You don't see that anywhere.
Yeah.
We were out there.
Yeah. No.
That's interesting.
So the first year we were runners up. Cool. You know, the people who won deserved it. And then the second year I think we're runners up. And again, that's a tough competition because at the end the final is corn versus flour. So I don't know if it's same, but that's how that's a bracket.
Well, the year that you won, you were battling against Taco Maria, right? Mm-hmm. Which I love eating there, by the way.
Yes.
What tortilla were they use? What kind of tortilla?
They use their blue corn tortilla.
Corn, flour,
yeah.
And you won.
Yeah.
That was exciting.
There was, I think everybody was learning, hey, this is legit. Like, you got to step up your game. So we did. We've always been evolving. The tortilla that started here in the States is not exactly the same that today that it was, 13 years ago when I started making it. But that's only because I made it better. It's still a clean label. It's still as
Mejerado, right? Is the tortilla brand that is, you have a partner in that company.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. And then so, you guys supply all the, tortillas for Burritos La Palma that you produce and a lot of other, you guys sell your products, the tortillas alone, Mejerado, in like shops, markets. It's everywhere, right?
Yeah. It's a stadium, SoFi Stadium.
That's right. SoFi Stadium.
Yeah.
You guys have a contract with them where you supply them all with your tortillas. Mm-hmm. What a big win.
That's cool, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
did you know that there's nowhere online that says that, by the way? We're getting into that a little bit later.
Yeah, we don't talk.
Oh, no, we're going to get into that a little bit. I've talked to you about this before, but cool. And then, so I guess that makes sense, right? First comes a tortilla, this thing wins, and it's like, you have a vision of that, but that's what you use to then start producing where you are now, which is with burritos, right?
Yeah.
And then, so when was it where you're like, I believe BLP 2012, 13 is when you... 2012 is when you started. What was that spark where it's like, I'm doing this? What was that moment?
The company I was working for, it was a Nation Diner, and they had been experiencing great growth. And at that point, they were kind enough to offer me the Utah, Nevada market. And I had a decision to make. Do I grow with this company? And yeah, it's a nice position and I get to relocate and everything. Or do I just, okay, this is the time. And I had those thoughts and I had a conversation with Lauren and we decided, no, let's do us. So I went full force and looked for the restaurant.
So a big life change that could have, made your whole family life better or whatever was so important that it triggered you to think even bigger. In other words, that's you see that a lot where, businesses are born based off of having to make a decision of, do I do this or that?
Yeah.
And for you said full on, I'm going to go do my own thing. And thank God you did because, you guys did good.
Yeah. Definitely. Hopefully it's great for Lauren. I want to give her the life that she deserves. And it's a simple life, by the way. So, I will say that that decision was because it was for us. It wasn't for others. Okay, so it's important for me to acknowledge that and then to share with you. When we did the burritos, we knew that they were going to be long hours, and that, of course, you're hoping for the best, prepping for the worst, but there's no going back. Like, if that's the point, then there's no other.
You're all in.
I'm all in.
All in.
All in. And so there's no failure at that point. Did I ever dream of the success that we achieved? No, that wasn't the
Probably
goal.
wasn't even in your
That wasn't the goal.
peripheral vision.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But that wasn't the goal either. Like, I wasn't trying to find some product that would, change the world or serve something. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was for me. It was for Lauren, and I think that matters. I think that matters.
It totally does, because that
You don't
really
have
makes sense.
You don't have the pressure. Like, I ended up.
Good point.
Yeah, I don't have the pressure. When you have the pressure, yeah, you make decisions that perhaps you wouldn't if you were,
I just had this.
cool-headed.
I just had the same conversation with a younger, person a couple weeks ago about opening up the company, and his process of opening up and this idea that he had, it was all to sell the company at the end. So every decision and every tactic that he had was that end result. I was like, it's not gonna do as good as you want. You're missing a lot of steps here, and it's at the beginning because you're too focused on that one end result. That, like what you're saying, you're missing all that passion and that time spent, the perfecting, all that stuff.
Yeah,
goes out the door a lot of times.
And all the factors that you cannot control. Like, what's the point? To me, that's what it was. Okay, where we are now, there's a lot of nice people who believe in us and they want to invest, they want to grow. But I don't choose that route because we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And frankly, I don't think it's up to me to be selling anything.
Yeah.
It is a family, brand, heritage brand. So I don't see that happening.
Okay.
But maybe my kids, maybe they decide to do that. I don't know. I'm not going to be around for that. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you'll be around for your kids to tell you or share if that's what their intention on is, because it would have to be their intention to see that happen at some point, right?
yeah.
Next part of our episode here, we're going to talk about I in life. And today we're going to talk about identity. And so as far as identity goes, you're carrying your family, your father's recipe, his legacy. This is a really big one, I think, because there's a lot of reasons for it. But how do you expand and grow while you still honor his legacy and his original plan without like diluting or like watering down what you got right now, your authenticity and quality?
Yeah, that's a great question, because that is something I have to answer, almost on the daily.
You do?
Yeah. I have to ask that question to myself and answer it.
That's why I'm asking, because I have some other questions.
No, yeah.
But
so in that case, that's exactly why Mejorado exists. Okay, so we have Burritos La Palma, we have Tortilla La Palma, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I broke into the market here. So how do I grow? How do I offer my product to bigger markets, different markets, and stay true to La Palma? A sub-brand like Mejorado answers that question. So the quality is there. But now I'm selling, 14-inch tortillas, 12-inch, 5-inch, things that I do not service La Palma.
Oh.
So it mattered because we were known for the smaller burrito. And all of a sudden you start selling bigger tortillas.
Yeah.
You may lose that authenticity, But
it's still separated. It's still separated from Burritos La Palma, though, and Mejorado, though, right?
100%.
But is that why you...
That's why I did it.
Smart.
That's why. I don't know about smart, but that's how it works.
Smart.
Yeah, it works. The way no one feels betrayed. No one feels like I sold out. I'm allowed to grow, with different customers, different ideas, like a wrap. But Mendocino Farms. We service Mendocino Farms.
That's right.
Every store nationwide.
That's right. Yeah, congratulations to that. That's
a wrap.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that's a big deal.
It's tasty. You should go.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good.
No, that's awesome. What a big deal that was. When you told me about that, I was literally goosebumps, like, man, congratulations. That's such a big deal for someone who's built their business up to get to that point there.
Yeah.
I think it's a big deal. And, just look at what's going on. I mean, food cost is up, labor's high. Dude, what is it? Rubio's Coastal Grill, Rubio's Taco, 48 locations closing in California.
Yeah.
How about, dude, this is not comparable in any way, but even Del Taco, man, because their cost is so, their menu items are so low. If they go up any higher for what their quality is, they can't make it.
They're priced out.
So in Colorado, they're closing 19 stores, and they have 50 more stores closing nationwide by the end of this year.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But on the border, 77 locations closing. That's crazy. This is specific to like Mexican food. But if I look at that, right? I mean, I guess the question is, if you look at those stats, what is in common? They grew, right? And then they got very corporate, right? Did they lose their original quality? Perhaps, was Rubio's really just starting out as a one shop that grew bigger and bigger? Do you think about these stats right here and kind of look at that for your business? What do you think
on a weekly basis?
You do?
Yeah, because you have to not only stay up with the times, but you have to learn from other people's mistakes, or you learn from their successes, right? Rubio's is a funny one because I remember Rubio's from, years ago, decades ago, and I liked it because you didn't really have fish tacos like that,
No.
But their tortilla was always cold. So
they are. Why? What? You don't know? Man, I thought you would know the answer to that secret question. Always cold. It was weird. Look, it came out of the fridge?
No, they just didn't have a capacity to warm it up properly.
See,
and they didn't have the quality control. Like, I don't know. That's my guess. Where there's a customer that I noticed that. So eventually I stopped going because I don't like cold tortillas.
I thought you brought like your own pack of like tortillas that you made at home, all warm, and they just
like when we transferred the chilies and stuff. Yeah, no. So those businesses are not in the business that I am. I'm in the business of quality and customer service and customer satisfaction. I want the perception of value to be there for my customer. Those companies are not. Those are in it for money. And, I'm in the business for money too, but money is not my number one driver.
I know.
You could tell. And also, money comes and goes. If it buys me time, it's the same, right? If it buys me time, great. That's what I want to buy. It's not.
So you're saying that with these examples of like opening, quick and fast locations and is that not, your
it's not sustainable. No, for me, no, I can't.
Because that dilutes the legacy that we're all talking about what this whole episode is about. From 1980, Zacatecas, with your dad, starting this, you're saying that as far as you go, that's not important to you, and the quality and service is more important.
Yeah, that'll bring the growth. Okay, so unlike my dad, he wanted to stay the way he stayed, my older brother, he took on pretty much what I did, which is grow, right? So he has like 10 or 12 units in Mexico. He's very happy, he does well, he deserves it. I knew that to grow, I would have to make some changes. So within my own family, within my own parents, they're like, hey, you're not doing it the way, we did it. Well, in order to grow, I can't do it that way. So that was one. Second, in order to grow the perception here in the States, we went from being regarded as a small, great little place to now we have 6 locations that we service a lot of restaurants. And now we're not that little place anymore. It's still the same, but we're no longer considered that like boutique. And that was
You're not.
No. And that's a decision that Lauren and I had to make. Do we stay boutique and live happily ever after? Or do we go for that goal of buying time? And we needed to grow for that.
I mean, as a customer that eats there a lot and, just visiting all, most of your locations that you've had, I don't know, I still get that boutique-y feeling, but just because you have more locations now and you're creating a vision or image where, that the brand is building. So maybe like more branded, I say, but still boutique to me. You know what I mean?
So boutique in the question, in the aspect of size. Or let's say like the little hole in the wall or the little Mexican restaurant that could.
Yeah.
I get it. I was that. And I hope to still have that
environment, vibe,
Yes.
Yeah.
Just different word, but I'm the last one. I still want to keep that. I want to keep that. It's like spirit, but it's not spirit. I want to keep that. But Lauren, it was a tough decision for Lauren and I to make, to lose everything that we had want to pursue growth. Because, we're no longer these 5 best that could things. We're still out there and people really enjoy us, and that's the point. But we're not small anymore.
You are not.
Yes.
But to the contrary, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you are not. Talking about being small and identity, I thought it'd be funny for me to like go through and find some like bad Yelp reviews.
Oh, nice.
Man, I couldn't find any. That's a problem. Hold on. Good job. You guys have really good reviews. In my business, right, in the mortgage business, for example, talking about identity, we were like on Zillow collecting reviews, and then I changed to Google. Now we have like almost 800 5-star reviews. And in a mortgage business, you don't see that. Most companies don't want to display that because of the complaints outweighing the high ones. So our culture here is to make sure we sustain that, and it's growing. But those reviews, best move ever. It just built our culture here for service and good service, right? That it shows online. And when people see that, they trust us right away. So when I go to Yelp and read all your reviews, I get that same feel. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you. No.
The only one to talk about identity and, being small business, big businesses. Just want to know how you feel about the only bad reviews I saw, which is where they talk about the size of your burritos.
Yes.
They like to mention the word small or mini.
Yeah. Number
Number one, how do you feel about that? And number two, how does that feel for your manhood?
Yeah.
Being told that on Yelp.
I'll tell you what, man. I don't know what. That's a good one. Well, the mini burrito, the small burrito, is because they're comparing it to the big California Mission style.
Get burrito, period.
Yeah. No, makes me unique. But I'm going to be careful because I don't want to go all analogies at this. But that's funny. The burrito, the complaints are usually, oh, they're small, all right, or my grandma can make this for cheaper. Oh, I love those. I love those because they're not saying that we're bad. They're just talking about factors that are not in my control. Like I still have to be able to make the burrito, pay the rent, pay the insurances, right? So it's going to cost X amount of dollars. That's the price. But if you can't afford that price, I totally understand that because I've been there. I've been, our friends, they're always surprised that I haven't eaten at this, cool little spot that's been there for 50 years. Well, I couldn't afford that at the time. I mean, when we talked about these, these early times, hell,
The grind.
living within your means is easier said than done.
You're right about
Right?
that.
So you're in Southern California, man, what does the means mean? But yeah, so that's one. The size, yes, size matters. It does. I think life would be easier if we just accepted that. And it's okay, dude.
I think
It's
that
okay.
there.
Because you know why? Because people love my burrito. They love my little burrito. I love my little burrito.
He says that humbly, and I love it, dude. No, but honestly, I saw actually, like, I don't know, someone actually come up and like make a video. They're like, if you didn't know, this is actually the original burrito that you would find in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is authentic. So you may say small or whatever, but you're just not used to our culture and our authenticity. And you've shared that with me too. So based on identity, if that's your worst review, man, that's it, you're doing good.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's so good. It's hard to maintain that.
You speak of growth, you speak of perception. The larger you grow, the more numbers you like reviews.
Yeah.
Your percentage is going to go down. 'Cause you're not going to make everybody 100% happy. You can't, right? So when I was small, man, we were like 4.8, 4.9. It was crazy, right? But then as we started to expand, expectations start to change too. Oh, wait a second. They're on the Michelin guide? Whoa, these burritos, they don't taste like a 3-star restaurant. Well, they're not supposed to, but see, expectations all of a sudden, our burritos are supposed to be, curing baldness or something. Well, expectations are so high, right? So,
Yeah.
Again, the mortgage company, I don't think anybody walks away feeling like they got everything they wanted. When you deal with a customer, you give them everything they got, and they're really happy. At the end, they get their house and they get their, they get the loan. They just feel like, man, maybe I should have got a little more. You don't walk away 100% happy, except me, because I was your customer. But
What a good point.
The expectations are so high. I try to be in control of that and make sure that I do what I can. But there's no way that I'm going to grow and make everybody happy.
Yeah.
You know, if we're lucky enough to be on certain shows and whatnot, to be recognized.
Yeah.
And again, all of a sudden, you know, that must be miraculous. And
Wow.
we're not, but we never set out to be. And I have a little burrito. It has, you know, there's limitations.
No, that's a good. I've never thought about that, and wow, I've just learned something for my own business today as we're talking about this. But I've never thought about, you know, the greater reviews you have, the greater expectation, the greater exposure. Then their expectations are now, you know, sky's the limit, right? Like
Unrealistic.
It gets more unrealistic. So that's hard to control. You know, there's no way to like voice that to every person out there, you know. So it comes to a point where I guess you got to stick to the roots, right? Which is you everything that you've been talking about. You don't change. You are, you know, it's heritage, legacy, quality, service. You just do what I've learned is in business, you only worry about what you can control, not what you cannot control.
Exactly.
Because you can't control it. What's the point? But if you can, you do.
Again, and then there's other metrics that really tell you the truth, not the ones, you know, that you want. I just saw this ad, or it was a meme or about an ad that The Habit, which is a great company.
Yeah.
They said, congratulations, in and out, you're now number 4, because they're number 1, right? But it's funny because perception, like I don't know if they're number 1 or not, but there is a different metric within the system. It's actually Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola ranks their customers, and In and Out is always number 1 by far.
Oh, why? From
They have
most sales, or like
no
I mean,
satisfaction.
yeah, it can't be because that would be McDonald's.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, exactly. And then tell me McDonald's is better than everything else. No.
Yeah.
So
No.
so once you start to understand, you know, you be the best that you want to be, or did you strive for it? That's all you could ask for.
Oh.
Yeah. So it really helps, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, no, I totally get that. And just kind of wrapping up on the identity part of our podcast here, I have a question for you. This is, as I'm researching, I mean, I've talked about this lightly before, but not as much as I have question or curiosity about it right now. But man, for someone that's been featured on Netflix, Taco Chronicles, right? That's where I know you got a big boost off that. You've been LA Times, OC Weekly. Man, you got the Michelin Bib Gourmand award, which that expectation that you're talking about puts you in the Michelin guide, which is an astronomical achievement. I don't know anybody else. I know a lot of restaurateurs, no one that has ever gotten that award. So that's a big deal. And the list goes on of appearance and where you've been, but the biggest and most recent one, the Jimmy Kimmel show. What the heck?
Yeah,
that was a big one. And then what I want to know is, dude, you don't brag. You don't even use this as marketing material. Why, dude? It drives me crazy. Here you are on my podcast.
Yeah.
And you're like, why, dude? I need to know. Why? Is it because you're humble? If there was any other company, they would be blasting and using all these different events that you have been at, that have participated and, you know, been at, yet you have not. Why? I need to know.
If I say I'm humble, I'm no longer humble, right? So let's say I'm simple. If I jeopardize the quality and the service, everything I want to offer you, if I jeopardize it just for accolades' sake, yeah, I've lost my way. So I keep it under control. Like I can't grow at the pace that these accolades are pushing me.
Oh, wow. That just clicked it for me. So you are doing this not because of not being humble or not trying to be like keeping under the radar by any means, but more like controlling all this information out there because you just don't want to lose sight of what we're all talking about here. And so that the big boys, you know, come and start high pressure. Wow.
So
that is such a good answer, actually.
And it's the wrong answer for capitalism, but it's the right answer for me and Lauren.
That tells me a lot about you, by the way. It does.
I accept that social media is powerful on many levels, but just talking about the industry that I'm in. There's influencers out there that, first of all, we don't pay. We don't,
I already know.
Right. There's an influencer who went to one of our locations, and you're talking millions. It blew, but it brought a lot of business.
I know.
Crazy.
Yep. You've had several, by the way, not just one or two, but several.
I'm happy, but that doesn't excite me, because now, where we understand, where we prepared, all these people that came, did they take away the same experience that influencer took? I don't know. Of course, I do know now, and yeah, it was okay, but that's hard. I'm not ready for that. I'm not prepared for that.
Controlled growth is the actual term for what we're kind of talking about here. So it's not that you don't want to flex or flaunt, and you're not trying to and you're not trying to be secretive or hide all this, greatness that's happening. And by the way, even if you don't, doesn't matter. Like, they're all doing it for you anyways. Like the influencer with millions of hits, L.A. Times and Jimmy Kimmel. They're just blasting out there, right? So when we look you up, you're everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Look, we're lucky. We've been on TV like 4 times in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 times.
Yep.
And we don't post about it.
I know. That's what I've been asking you about.
Those... Yeah, look. At the end of the day, yeah, it's not in me to talk about this. Look, yeah, a little emotional.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm lucky, and it's not about pushing my luck. But life's not fair, so I'm not gonna flaunt.
First time all these years that I've known you that something hit you like that.
Yeah.
Because you're bigger than me and tougher.
No, I don't know about that.
It has nothing to do with your mini burrito size. Yeah. But yeah.
Well,
all good.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's move on. Let's do that. That actually transitions me over to the next part of our show, which is the F in life. Friends, family, and finance. Oh man, what a big one. Even for me, it has to be you, business owners, things like that. And one of the things is, right, the identity question, the branding, the flexing, the flaunting. I have a question. Like, this is a family business, like you've said multiple times. And I think it's come up where, there is Burritos La Palma, Mexico, separate from Burritos La Palma, USA.
Yeah.
So what is that dynamic like? Just curious.
We share the wins, of course. I'm always happy to share with my siblings. Hey, we did this, we did that. And that gets to the point where, like, okay, it seems like I'm bragging, so I stop, right?
See, that's what I'm asked. Yeah. That's why the branding part. Is it related to what you just said at all?
Yeah.
And I never thought of that, but then as I was reading and all that, I was like, family dynamics. I wonder what that dynamic is.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to ask you.
Again, you try to learn from anything and everything. I used to really enjoy these German cars, Porsches, right?
Yeah.
I did what I could. I had fun. So I met a lot of good people. You learn the history of Porsche after World War II, and you realize the people who built that empire, I think it's pronounced Piech, which is the son of the sister. So even though Porsche is the main name,
yeah,
what really got everything going, Audi and everything else, was a different last name. And that matters though in the world. So like in my case, my parents started it. We're children. We're working just like you, man. You had it tough. I don't think I had it easier, but it is what it is. But we were, in fact, employees of that. So when we start growing in the States and you start to share these wins, these accolades, this you could even say fame, there's no reason that they shouldn't feel part of it, but not to be confused with ownership. Right. And that, I don't know if that was one of the questions you were asking, but that's very important, because at one point, we were just employees of my parents. What my brother built, that's what he built. Yeah, based on the name, but that he built that. Here, same thing. Yeah, I took the family name, but I built this. Like, what it took. You know what it takes to do what you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can they partake in the family aspect of it? Yeah, but no, it's just set for business. And
What's it like with like friends and family and just like, hey, can I, do you get people asking for jobs, or are they like giving you pitching investment opportunities or partnerships, or like, hey man, let's do this, that? Do you get that?
yeah,
Yeah.
I get it enough. Yeah.
I'm
I'm not like an actor or an athlete. Yeah, I get it enough.
I bet.
And that's okay, because again, they don't know. They're just looking to, unlike us who we forged our own road. They're looking to, I wouldn't say piggyback, but they're like, hey man, you could do it. Give me some of that too.
Were these ever people who doubted you at any point in the earlier part of your life? No shit.
100%.
Are you shitting? Wow.
Yeah. Oh man.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The not a woe is me, but yeah, there's a lot of people who were expecting me to fail, probably wanted me to fail. And now they're
Haters.
And exactly. Haters gonna hate. And now it's like, oh hey. They don't say, oh, I always believe in you, but they want a piece of the action now. Like, no, dude, take the risk.
It's like a life of a lottery winner. Yeah. Like, you're estranged, so your brothers and sisters and cousins, we hit the lottery, and all of a sudden,
we're all rich.
What's up? Remember me? Yeah, that's rough.
That is rough. Yeah.
But I asked that because it's not hard to figure out. You look up Alberto Banuelos, and like, dude, here he is, man. Just Jimmy Kimmel, Netflix, just all the activity out there. So it's hard to hide that,
The food world, there was a food critic. He passed away, Jonathan Gold. He was a food critic for the LA Times, Pulitzer Prize winner.
Oh,
yeah, he knew what his stuff. Well, yeah, he was a big fan of us, and if you look us up in that world, yeah, we're respected in that world. That we could be, again, now another joke is now that we're mainstream, right? We're still getting some, play. So yes, all of a sudden, must be easy because you did it.
Must be easy.
Yeah, because I did it.
I hate that.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
It's like this. Just like I said, it's like, okay, cool. You don't know,
but the thing.
But don't ask me for anything either.
Yeah,
she never believed in me, mother.
Yeah. And I think it's funny because it's that when you get the respect and the accolades from your peers in that industry, yeah, that is huge. So it kind of helps me move on from those.
Or confirmation if it's peers in the same industry, like you're saying. Whatever happened before or now, just that confirmation means you're winning.
Yeah.
Like, or yourself, just self confirmation, I would say.
Yeah. I don't blame them. I don't blame them being, family and friends, that they think the way they think. I don't blame them.
Has that changed any, I don't know. You don't have to talk about this if it's too personal, or maybe you could be a little bit more broad. But for me, I can tell you from experience and just from a lot of people that I know, that this kind of shit changes the dynamics between families, family businesses. Have you had any, have you had to deal with any of that?
No, not really.
It's fortunate there.
Yeah, no, we're very lucky. My parents did a good job. We had, not too long ago, we had some friction. But I was happy to say, hey, look, because of the family bond that we have, this too will pass. But yeah, I think there was some conversation that people felt more ownership of certain things that they're not entitled to. But the classic, look, I thought of that 20 years ago.
Oh, my.
That is a classic. Execute.
Yeah. Were you here? Were you grinding? Were you... Yeah. So that happens. And I was just curious, did that happen to you?
Yeah.
Because family is just another dynamic. But I think that what you just answered my question with is it comes back to culture. Family dynamics, the DNA. Your parents culturally raised a family and made the bond so tight that, you could overcome these things. Mm-hmm. That makes me think, man, I have a bunch of kids, you got a bunch of kids. We got to make sure that we do a good job embedding this into their minds so that they pass that on too, so they don't forget. Mm-hmm. Because, truth be told, our culture here, as a Vietnamese American, our culture here, it's not the same concept, belief, methodology on that bond, that family. Like, it's more me versus you, or what are you doing for me today, right? Like, it's a lot more of that, but that's our culture.
Yeah.
Because of how expensive it is and how fast it moves, and this is just how it's been. But if you go back, like, our cultures, it's like family, man. Not all of it, but the majority of it is. And that's why we are who we are.
And I'd like to think that it's up to us to keep it that way. But as countries, develop, and that stupid metric of GPD, it's so stupid, but it is what it is. If you follow that, eventually we'll just be just as bad as the people that I'm critiquing.
Yeah.
So it's up to us to really keep that going. The family bond,
yeah,
that idea, the tradition, it's up to us.
Because if there's ever dispute, like you're kind of talking about, or conflict or friction, you can overcome that.
Yes.
But if you have a bunch of like family members at each other's throats and it's over money,
yeah,
that's sad.
My parents are lucky enough that they instilled these values that I would say that of the 6 children that they have alive, we're all successful.
And, I think that kind of is the last part of the F part, friends, family, and finance we got through. But some of the finance side, I just want to share that you and I had a conversation, and this is where I was like, yeah, we're kind of similar in ways. And being humble or not, I think that we built, a successful business brand, and the people that are surrounded around us from one commonality. And when you and I were talking about it, this is how I explained it, right? I said, hey, look, running a company, running a business, it's kind of like being dad at home, right? At the dinner table. If everybody's starving and they're all irritated or whatever, I'm going to feed everybody and I will eat last, because if I know everybody's full and fat and happy and, good now, I'll eat too, right at the end. And I feel like we both have the same concepts, and it secured that thought more as I was watching some of your interviews online. You're big on your people, and I've seen you, right? Like you're very big on people. Like your crew loves you. You got that spark. I kind of feel like I have that spark with my team, you, but you've got that spark because of that mentality, and you take care of the people first, and then the quality, service, and your business. Because if you do all that, you'll get paid. But it's not the money first.
Right.
Right?
Right. And I get paid, and I get paid in time as well. They will want... See, you create an environment where they know there's growth, right? That's one of the reasons that I also wanted to grow the business. Because Brenda and Armando, those were my two key people. And I felt, well, this is not going to be enough for all of us. So let me grow this business. And we did. And
sure did. And they excel.
They excel, and they got a smile, and they're happy. And
that's awesome.
Very lucky.
Yeah. I mean, think about their families and like what, the business and yourself has been able to do for them, and how many people that will affect, and just the jobs and things like that. And honestly, I mean, food industry is tough, turnover, employees, staff, but yeah, you have a good setup going on there because it starts at the top.
Yeah, that's funny. The turnaround, man, especially in big corporations, turnover, such a huge waste of money.
Yeah.
Just pay the people the money they need to be paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Make them happy and productive. You'll get your money back tenfold.
Yeah.
But we're not about, see, that's what makes a family business a family business. Family business is forever. Corporation is every quarter.
Yeah,
and it's investors,
right?
It's a different ballgame. It's a different beast, and I worked in that industry, and I did well, right, performance-wise, but it's not sustainable for me. It's not everlasting.
Wow. See, that's like perfect transitioning into the last part of our podcast, which is the E in life, and it's to expand, like any business, right? You built a name, you've got accolades, you've got awards, you've got endless interviews, and just branding on the internet, and what you've got there. So what are you pushing for now? In talking about, like, what are you pushing for? Why do you push? Tell me about that.
The restaurant business is ever changing. Every customer is a new experience. You have to be on top of your game. Every experience. It's not like you sold the mortgage, and then that person is going to either be happy for 30 years or whatever, right? Or they'll come back to you when the rates are lower, which I hope they're lower. Mine is it's a little faster, right? So I'm trying to find a way where we're just consistent. I'm not trying to make it up. It's really hard to explain because I feel that my personal goals are met. So that there's a difference. I'm trying to separate my personal goals and then my company goals.
Okay.
See? So
Gotcha.
So when you have a family business and it's no longer family, that's where I am right now. Like my personal
Oh, gotcha.
they're met. Again, I don't want to choke up, but I'm in a situation where if I continue to do what I'm doing, I'm going to be very well, right?
Yeah, you are.
Like, I don't want my wife to get older, but I want her to retire.
Yeah.
I want her to be with me. But
Yeah.
she's
Fortunate carding gigs.
she loves her. I think she does such a great service to those children, and I want her to serve the community. So she's going to be a teacher as long as she wants, right? But for me, it's like, oh man, let's move on to our next chapter.
Yeah.
I'm also a little older than her, so it's easy for me to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so my personal goals are met. I'm trying to build something that will either, not so much the growth, but that will share with friends, and we create great partnerships, and also hopefully my children, whenever they decide it's time to step up to the plate, there's something for them.
Got it.
That's not my dream. That's not my goal. It's just company-wise, that's what I'm doing.
How about the kid part though? Like the empire, the generational wealth that gets built from one generation that like gets passed along and taught. Does that apply? Like, do you think about that at all?
No.
You don't?
No.
Wow, that's special.
No, because
I like it.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're on this earth. I have no idea how it works. I just know that one day I won't be on it anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So anything that happens after I'm dead doesn't matter to me. My children, they have to live their own life. Right?
Are they interested at all? By the way, I mean, like what? They're young, so
it's unfair to say. If you were to ask me,
premature peak
Yeah.
too, right? You talked about that.
and that's why that is always on my mind. When I was 18 years old, my father bought another tortilla company, and he gave it to me.
Really?
Yeah,
How old were you?
18 years old.
Wow. What'd you do with that?
I ran into the ground. Why would you give an 18-year-old a goddamn business? Right?
That's true.
I don't want to do the same.
Yeah.
My dad didn't make a mistake. I failed. Right? But so that's I take that and I realize, okay, my kids are in college. Yeah, they're supposed to have a good time. They're supposed to be studying. And they are. Good grades, having fun.
That's what I say.
That's what how can I expect them to turn around and dedicate the rest of their lives?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's way too premature, like you said, and we want them to go through, the process that they're going through now, for sure. And part of it is we don't want to force anything on them if, we're talking the same thing here. And so with that said, yeah, I mean, I guess you answered my question about if you had dreams or a vision for them to. Same with me. I mean, I get asked that a lot. Like, are you building this up so your kids are like, no, I mean, I don't expect, this is a grind, dude. Like the ups, the downs, and you gotta have a certain personality for it. Like I say this as a joke, but if you're in real estate or the mortgage industry and you're excelling in it, it's because you're addicted to chaos.
Yeah.
You're addicted to chaos. You feed into it, which I do, and I'm good at managing it. So good under a low stress level because it's just natural to me, and I'm good at it. So, but if you're not, and you can't be, you can't be in this industry. Yeah. Your industry gets pretty chaotic too, though. It's pretty chaotic.
My wife, she helped me understand myself so much, and that was one of the things she said. She said, "You love chaos, you love it, control chaos, whatever you want to call it."
Yep.
And I do. I love it.
I know it's a challenge.
I love it.
But our personalities are made for that. That's why. But not for everybody.
Not for everybody.
Like our kids, maybe not. So it's so hard to determine when people ask me. Like, dude, I don't know. They're in college,
Yeah.
But do I really want them going through all this chaos? If it's their personality, I guess, is the best way to explain it. If it's a match for them.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And there's more to it. I hopefully your listeners, chime in and they talk about it. But yeah, having lived in Mexico, no one talks about retirement.
until just recently, as they started passing out retirement checks.
Yeah.
Now they will.
Yeah. I think you get it just by the age.
Yeah, which is a big bonus.
You can still work or not, you still get it, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But then when I came to the States, as an adult, that was everybody's conversation where I worked. Everybody wanted to retire.
Yep.
And this is in the late '80s. People were retiring at 60, I think, or 59 and a half. That's all I wanted to do was retire, and then I would sit there and retire. And some of them passed away 6 months later
because you're bored.
Yeah.
Your brain slows down. There's like a scientific fact that if you're like us and your brain's always moving, but you retire too soon and you do nothing and have nothing to do, your brain dies with you.
Yeah, 100%.
Slows down.
So those things taught me, like, okay, I never saw my grandparents have a day off. But then also, they didn't work like you and me.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Like what we do, dude, I take what they did over what I had to do. But I know this now. But it suited me. It didn't suit them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My dad, I'm more like my dad. He had to leave Mexico because that life just didn't suit him, and he's right. So that chaos
where you're at now.
Exactly. He did it. He created for his own. I did mine. So I have to let my kids figure out what they want to do. But that's dangerous. It's I don't really mean it that way, but that's easy to say. No, they don't. Your kids, my kids, if they're smart, which they are, they don't have to figure out anything. They just have to wait. They just have to figure it out.
Premature peak. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I learned a couple of things today,
Yeah.
like big time. Yeah, that's good to know. So that's part of the plan for expansion, which is that it's not from a family standpoint, but more like the quality. And man, I just have to share, you are a quality control freak. Remember once we were like having lunch and he was like browsing. I think somebody posted a burrito on Instagram, and you like called Brenda or whatever. It was like, hey, this burrito doesn't one looks bigger than the other. I'm like, dang, this guy was on his Instagram, saw the post, and while they're called to correct it, man, that's who you are.
I want you.
That's who you are
as a customer. Yeah, I want you to come back. It's consistency.
But it's funny that it bugged you, man. Like, dude, put down your phone. We're eating, man. But you're like, no, one burrito is bigger than the other. I'm like, dang, I have your thing.
I had a friend went with me. He's a friend of ours, and we went and we had lunch, and then I noticed something in the burrito, but I ate it and I enjoyed it, and then I left. And then on my way out in the car, he's driving. I grabbed my cell phone and I called Brenda. I said, hey, you know what? Check the measurements because I think they're off. I said, don't do it now. Do it in 2 or 3 days time. So they don't know it came from me, right? And our friend was shocked. He was surprised. He's like, wow, it really matters. I'm like, yeah, it really matters. Profits go down the drain.
Yes.
Consistency is customers think, why do we go back to McDonald's? Because it's delicious? No, because they're consistent.
It's so cookie cutter. Every Starbucks. Yeah, never changes.
Never changes.
It never changes.
It's funny how things have changed. Starbucks, I try to learn from every company. You read about them. And they had performed the study. The generation before us would judge a restaurant by the cleanliness of their restroom. Starbucks proved that you don't need a clean restroom anymore. And it's true. The generation today doesn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying disgusting, but it's not to the standards that it was for us.
That's so true. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, like I walk into restaurants now that are busy and it's like, dang, no one's cleaning up all these tables and there's like whatever. But if you think about it, they're smashing it because they're so busy, right?
And the generation will be in line. They'll wait.
And there's a line.
They're like, oh, it's okay. It's because they're busy. We didn't come from that environment.
Exactly. Wow, how generations change just in perception there too. And expectations and things like that. That's like that's a really, really big idea. So on talking about expansion, I mean, you got the, tortilla sales, and then you got 6 locations. Not only that though, but I mean, you were invited by Goldbelly, which when you told me, I knew right away who Goldbelly was, because I get, vendors, banks, they send me stuff and I'll get dry frozen, top-notch boxes of food delivered to me with, the dry ice packs in there and everything, like overnight, all from Goldbelly. But you have to be invited to be on Goldbelly. That's a big one. But were you like I don't know, worried at all? Like, oh no, at the Mendocino Farms markets too. What is it, like 28 stores? How many markets do they?
More.
When we first talked,
Oh, well, yeah, yeah.
you were going to do the first
Yeah.
go to market.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was
Yeah.
like, how many are you in now?
151, I think.
Oh my God, dude. 151 stores. Wow, what a big deal. So 151 and Gold Belly, which is like exclusive, they're frozen. Were you worried at all? Because you were not worried, really. But the quality, the consistency.
Not to be cocky, Kate, but see,
Okay.
and when we talked about growth and expansion right now, see, it's which side? I have three right now. I have three outlets that are
Tortillas, the retail, and then the
burritos, the tortilla, the burrito, the frozen burrito line, and then the restaurant. So, if I'm careful and if I grow at my pace, I'm more than fine, right?
This is all well thought out. Dude, this shit's not easy to like sit and think about, and it wasn't by accident either, right? Like this, everybody listening, like this stuff right here, as like successful business owners and entrepreneurs, like you got to strategize and think. And I'm up thinking all night about little, just things like this, because this is what I tell everybody. You don't need to make major changes to your flow process business. Dude, 100 micro changes that are tiny will result in huge different results, better. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it takes. You don't have to do everything big at one chunk. Tiny. Little tiny micro changes, And for you, that's kind of what developed. I could see it. I could see that, that's what it has broken out to you. Mm-hmm. That's so good for the topic of expansion, because here my next question was like, where would you expand? What would you do? But I think you just answered me by saying you have options.
I have options. Okay, so when Lauren and I were dating, and at this point, we were dating, but I think we're engaged. I was very calculated with that too. Right? We didn't talk about future or anything like that. I proposed to her, and then at that point, then we talked about the rest of our lives. Yeah, which we always joke because I didn't see my father-in-law, may rest in peace. I didn't see him often. He would fly off once a year, maybe, or twice a year. He lived in Virginia, and I asked her hand in marriage like 2 years before I proposed.
Wow.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if I was going to see him, but I wanted to do that. And then things got busy, and talk about being busy.
Yeah.
But okay, so at that point, we started to dream about we'd open up a burrito shop in a college town. Now, I haven't done that yet, but that is an angle. Our food is perfect for that.
It's perfect. Hey, I was actually at, your Costa Mesa location, being right by OCC. When you opened it up, I was like, just imagine that all the OCC students would be lined up there. And then my daughter was at an orientation for, she got accepted to UC Riverside, and total college town, downtown. I just kept thinking about BLP, man. Like, this would be me and Teresa. We're like, there are no, like, Burritos La Palma would be like perfect. It was just slammed packed. Their downtown area with just all pedestrians, no cars driving through, and it was like the perfect, location or place for you. But wow, that's awesome.
I think our food, like, we're gonna find out in Orange because the project's moving quickly,
right?
Yeah, and we have Chapman there, so we're gonna find out more. But
that's a good idea.
See, one of the big things of at least for me is throughput, right? You get in and out. What's the time, right? So we're good for that. The food is portable and holds well. There's a lot of good things. So no, I wasn't worried about the frozen burritos because that was part of the gig. We would test our burritos.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a great idea. And the student market, I think that's good. Well, this was awesome. Usually, I'm trying to find out. I learned things from you. Every time we talk, I learn things. I feel like
I learn from you too, but you're not saying on TV, dude.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying, like, it's good. No, I would like to say to everybody is like, always, be open-minded, right? If you want to find true success, you're always open-minded. You and I can have a conversation, and you tell me a bunch of advice. It's up to me what I want to use out of that knowledge that I've taken in, or if it goes out from one ear and out the other, right? Because I don't believe it. But you should always be open to doing that and to taking on that knowledge. So to end our episode today, my final question for you is really related to that. With everything that you've learned, your journey, your experience, right? And everything that has happened to, get you to where you are today with your success. If there was one thing that you wish somebody had given you advice on earlier on, or that you wish, hey man, I wish somebody told me this many years ago because it would have just changed things for me and made things easier or better, whatever, what would that be?
It's broad, but it would be finances. It would be, at least for me, because I came from Mexico here. Like, I waited till I was 21 so I could drink alcohol. Priorities, right? But I came here with no knowledge of what America was.
Yeah.
Right? But I spoke English.
Yeah.
Right? I was born here, so I had papers.
Yeah.
No, big things. Big things. But I came with no knowledge. So I read that in high school they don't teach you about finances either.
Yeah.
Right? So that someone would have been able to guide me just a little bit, right? But I'm going to say that it's not that I'm unique, but I think at this point, the choices that are made, they wouldn't help, right? Yeah, but I think we need to learn how money really works early on. You don't have to have it, but you need to understand how it works. So I took the long way, but I got to where I am, right? Under that principle. But yeah, if someone would have taught me that early on.
What a big deal.
Maybe
that is so strong.
Maybe I would have peaked early.
But still, doesn't matter if that would have happened or not. That is, what you said is just important.
Learn how to use money, work money, even if you don't have it. Understand the concept of money.
Yeah.
And that will buy you anything and everything you ever want.
That's perfect, man. I mean, I asked that, specifically because, it's not for me or for you really, but I want to take that, information, that topic, and really expand on that because I do that today already. A lot of my episodes are based on money management and things like that. Sometimes I'm a scoutmaster for like 100 kids. I do a lot of money management stuff at a young age. And that helps out. And then my kids, I mean, they're like pretty, not advanced. I don't want them to be advanced, but they're knowledgeable. Credit scores, bank accounts, how credit cards work, how stocks work, just as long as that knowledge.
Like if you could, if to make it in one term, learn about what passive income is and how it could serve you. Like, I don't know, we come from a background that is just work. You're not making the money work for you, right? So you're not working smarter. That. Teach that to, I continue to learn every day.
Yeah.
But if something would have helped me early on, it would have been that.
Awesome. Well, man, thank you so much for taking your time out. I know you're a busy guy.
Thank you.
And coming on here today. Yeah, it was fun.
Wow, just got done reviewing the last and final edit. And I just want to talk about a few great takeaways if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner or someone looking to open up a business. And I really liked his first takeaway here. Number one, just because it's good for capitalism doesn't mean it's good for you or your business. Number two, greater 5-star reviews you have, the higher the expectations. Never really thought about that. And that's super important. Number three, only worry about the things that are in your control. Because if you can't control it, why are you stressing? Thank you so much, everybody. Join us next week for our next episode on the Facts of Life podcast, hosted by me, John Doan. Comment, subscribe, and share us if you like what you saw.